Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here with some more Friday Night Magic. Today, playing the second of the two new decks added last week. This is Up to Mischief. I made those noises because this is a fairy deck, and I feel like that's the noises a fairy deck would make. Oh man, this is... It's a pretty good hand. It's a pretty good hand, so we're gonna keep it. It definitely could be better. There's a lot of 2-drops in this. There's a lot of 2-drops in this deck, actually. I think the deck that I'm running right now is primarily 2-drops, like between 2 and 4. But anyways, here's the idea. The deck is filled with a ton of fairy creatures, flying creatures, relatively small in comparison to say like the blue aggro deck, for example, the blue phantasm deck. That's a pretty big deck, but this one is smaller in terms of the creature size, but it's got a lot of really interesting mechanics with flash and bounce back and counter spells and all sorts of fun stuff. So we'll be taking a look at some of that here. Now I've got a ton of 3-drops here in my hand. Well, not a ton, 2 to be precise. I am gonna swing him for 1. Let's see if he does this. Playing against a black graveyard fetch deck, so he might have something to discard to give this flying to block it, but it looks like he decides not to do that. So the deck's really cool. There's a creature in here where it's flash, and you can counter spell with X or less cost, where X is the number of fairies you have in play. I've got this guy here for a 3-drop, flying flash. When it enters the battlefield, you may tap or untap target permanent. It's pretty nice. It's flash, so I can do it and, you know, just mess with my opponents during their turn. Scion of Una, this pumps up my other fairies, also makes them untargetable, which is nice. I have got, let's see here, Sprite Noble for 3. Gives other creatures with flying. Oh, okay, there we go. So let me think about which one I want to do. I think at this point we'll probably, I don't care so much about that, probably go for this to pump my stuff up immediately. Yeah, it's also gonna give them Shroud, which will be really nice to have. So this guy right here is gonna, he's got Flash too, so I can play him as an instant. Anything with Flash you can play as an instant. And I know a lot of, there's especially gonna be a lot of cross-pollination between Hearthstone players checking out these games, and I know a lot of you MTG players have been here before I even started covering Hearthstone, so bear with me as I explain mechanics for all the new people who might be interested. And you know, this makes me really happy because it's getting people who maybe have never played Magic before, potentially into it because of the popularity of Hearthstone now. So I'm actually really happy with how all that's working out here. Another flash creature enters the battlefield, look at the player's hand and choose a non-land card from it. If I do that, player reveals the card, puts it at the bottom of his or her library, and then draws a card. So I get to pull something out of their hand. I can do this to pump up my flying creatures. I could also wait to play this if he tries to block or something. I can tap his creature, although I don't think that stops. Yeah, I'm gonna do this prior, actually. I'm gonna do this prior to combat so that he can't block, because I think if I tap it after he declares blockers, the block will still go through. I believe that's how it would work. I could also play this just to pump up their defense. I don't even need to waste that. Yeah, why don't I do that? I'm gonna do this to pump up their defense, so even if he does shenanigans here and tries to block, he's not gonna be able to kill one of my guys. I don't think he has any... I don't really remember much from that deck. I don't think he has any pump up or minus whatever. All right, well, we're just gonna keep whittling away at his health anyways, but this is the general premise of the deck. It's really cool, it's really techy, a lot of fun, especially when you get to pull off some of these flash drops. Like for example, you could pull this guy, you could block something, flash this guy into play, where your opponent thinks it would kill a creature, it all of a sudden gets +1/+1, it lives, fantastic, you know. You can also flash it into play to stop target, I think you can flash it into play to give it Shroud before a spell targets it. Yes, because the spell will go down and before it resolves you can do that, all those shenanigans. And he discarded this. Okay. Because he had a max hand size, so he discarded, he could have just, yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Probably gonna wanna hold on to our sleep. We've got that which we can flash in. I might actually try to flash this in. I might actually try to play this prior to his next turn just to get something out of his hand that could screw me, for example. So that would give +2, this is 3, so it's better for me just to attack with everything right now. So we're gonna attack with everything right now. I could tap this to pump up my other creatures +1/+0, but I would need more fairies in play for that to actually be worthwhile. Okay, so I'm thinking right now, actually, before his turn, I'm gonna do this. So I want to get rid of whatever's in his hand. I could do it during his after his draw step though. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. It's flash. We're gonna wait. We're gonna let him untap, upkeep, draw, and then during his first main phase, we're gonna flash this in. I'm gonna look at his hand and make him get rid of something. Okay, so it's gonna put. Let's see what he has here. He's got a Rise from the Grave. Target artifact or creature card from a graveyard. Actually, he's mana screwed. He can't play any of this anytime soon. Decree all pain, destroy all creatures. He could also cycle it to give all creatures -2/-2. I wouldn't want that. Accumulated knowledge. He can't even play that right now. Let him draw a card. This is freaking. You gotta be kidding me. That's the second time that's happened. I'm sitting here, I'm trying to talk with you guys, talk you through my thought process, and I'm missing a freaking timer. That is unbelievable. Well, the good news is he's mana screwed, so this is a win without issue. He got pretty screwed. I don't know. I really feel even if he weren't mana screwed and he were sitting, I mean, you saw his hand, right? He could have had an AK. He would have obviously been in a better position, but I still think we would have had this game even had he not been mana screwed. Just looking at his hand, you see how big all those costs were. Besides the AK, I think the next thing was a 5 mana cost, which, you know, what he would have played something this turn, gotten a creature in play. I still don't think that would have made that much of a difference. So we can stop him from blocking by throwing this guy in play. Let me just swing, declare attackers, and then before he declares blockers, we're gonna put this in play to tap. And you can also use it to untap permanent. It's a permanent too, that's the other thing. Tap or untap target permanent. So you can use this to untap a land and play something else, so it technically at that point only costs 2 because you get that extra mana back. I mean, there's all sorts of fun stuff that you can do. What is happening? Oh, he's watching damage effects. And that's the game. Game number 1 goes to Force with the Fairy deck. Let's go ahead and move on to game number 2. Our next game against Ganja Man. You're cool. Hey guys, look at the name I got. Alright, that's enough of me being a jerk. I don't know about this. I don't know. No 1 or 2 drops. The only 3 drop is that. That doesn't count as a 2 drop. We're gonna draw a new hand. Alright, I'm gonna keep it. This is not ideal though. The deck's got 7 turn 1 creatures. 6, 7, 8, turn 2. Like this, there's just a lot of stuff that it's kind of annoying to be honest with you. Alright, so he's gonna, alright, so we're going super crazy, playing lots of stuff deck is what we're playing against here. I can't play this in turn 2 because well no, I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else. I can play this one. It's the other one that I couldn't play. You don't know what I'm talking about yet, but there's one, comes into play, it's a 2/1. I thought that's what I drew into, that's not it. This one gets +1/+1 as long as I control another blue creature. Next turn I will. It's gonna be a 3/3 because I'll be dropping the Scion of Una in play. I also have this for flash and tapping or untapping a permanent. I've got the Sower of Temptation to take your creature. Card draw and then that over there, which is nice. And this is a great turn. We are going to go ahead and Scion of Una. Throw this bad boy into play. Turning him into a 3/3. Technically, because this thing has flash, I could have waited to do this after declaring attacks, but I don't think he doesn't. You know, I can't think of anything that the deck that I'm playing against would have, or where that would have made a difference. There probably is though, and someone is probably angry at me. But whatever, people are always, you know. Just freaking people who watch games on YouTube are always angry. I feel like they're always angry. You guys, right? That's right? Yeah, you guys are always angry. Okay, that's fine. You guys are fine though. I still love you, you know? Not really. All right, so we got this bad boy. We're gonna do this pre-combat so that he can not. Oh, actually, I can do this after declaring attack. So I guess I'll just do it that way. So we're going to go ahead and swing. Now, he just played a 4/4. It's got Vigilance and Reach. Vigilance means it doesn't tap when it attacks. Reach means it can block flyers. So we don't want that, so we're going to go ahead and throw a Pestermite in play. Prior to him declaring blockers, we're going to tap his thing. We're going to select it, choose to tap it. I do not want to choose to untap it. And because it's tapped, it cannot block. And then we're going to be able to do that again next turn. So he's now down to 13. We're going to follow this up again next turn. And that's going to bring him down another 7. And if we get a 4th mana, we could always just Sower of Temptation his thing too. All right, so he's going to play 3/3. Problem for him, though, is that it does not have Reach. It cannot block our flyers. So, we're gonna do, oh no, the Prey Upon, that hurts. He's going to target my Una. So that actually hurts tremendously because it knocks down the attack of my creatures and really sort of sets me back here for my game plan. I will take the 6, and now I'm just hoping if I can get a 4th mana, Sower of Temptation will be awesome, because we're going to be able to take his creature. That is the 4th mana. That is the play. We could also tap his thing and swing, but frankly, I'd just rather go with the Sower of Temptation right now. We're going to go ahead and play him. Enters the battlefield. I choose a creature. We gain control of that creature so long as Sower of Temptation is in play. So if Sower of Temptation leaves play, then he's going to get his 6/4 Vigilance Reach back, but he needs something to deal with this first. Now, if he's got another Prey Upon, he could do his 3/3 with my 2/2, kill my 2/2, bring his 6/4 back. That could happen. We still have the Pestermite, so we've got another turn to tap a Reach creature if he gets this back. Let's see what happens this turn. Let's see if he kills our Sower of Temptation. This deck is pretty solid. It's just good. I think it's really good. It really struggles against burn decks, but all around it's pretty darn solid. He has been replaced by AI because we won the game. So we can swing here. We don't have victory in the air. He can block the 6/4. 3 goes through because it has Rancor. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 9. That is the win. We can stop his block completely, actually, so we'll just do that too. I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to put it into effect. We're going to go ahead and declare attackers. Prior to him declaring blockers, we play our Pestermite. We choose his 3/3. Again, the damage would have gone through to be enough anyways, but why not just, you know, just do it this way. This works too. Okay, game number 2, a win. Good so far. Let's move on to another. Game number 3 is going to be against Crumble. I'll just like announce these people's names. They don't even like, oh yeah, this is a great hand. Yay, islands. No, thank you. Yeah. This is not that great. Because I can't play this without bouncing something back. It's just, we're gonna keep it, but definitely not fantastic. I just don't want to go down to 6. Let's see here. Crumble opens up with a swamp. Nothing. Please get a good 1 or 2 drop. That's Pestermite's not bad. So I can't play him because when he comes into play, I have to sacrifice it unless I return a creature I control to my hand. That sounds bad, Force. Well, it's not bad because it's actually, this is intentional. I want this. Obviously, it's in the deck because of stuff like this. We've got these Faeries that come into play and do stuff when they come into play, like counter stuff. And yeah. So I can play that, I can counter something, and da-da-da-da-da. But this one, at this point, I would only be able to counter something with X or less cost. Actually, no, I think the X is gonna be Faeries on the battlefield prior to this thing coming in play, so. I don't know, we'll see what happens here. So what I'm gonna plan to do is I'm gonna play this flash at the end of his turn, and then the next turn I can play this. Bounce that back, and then it's kind of annoying because if it's not used for counterspell purposes, you know what I mean, but might as well, you know, might as well get something going. So we're gonna play him now. Just gets in play. Counterspell effect just doesn't happen, you know. For our 3-drop, actually, because I can hit with that now. What is this here? Tap target creature an opponent controls doesn't have tap turn its next untap step, plus it's got Cypher. It pumps up my other creatures 0/1. Get the Pestermite. All right, well, what I'm actually gonna do here is we're gonna attack first before anything else. And then during the second main phase, I think I'll bounce it back. And that way, if I want to, I can counter. I think I can counter for 1. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive if it's gonna, if it counts, what I'm not sure if it counts the spell stutter sprite in the X. I don't think it does, so I think I can only counter something for 1. All right, so that stinks, gonna pump up a bunch of stuff. This is not gonna work to counter, but I'm gonna throw this in play now anyways. It's especially effective later in the game because, again, that X, you need that X, so. Okay, we're not gonna block it. Because I'm trying to get him too, you know what I mean? We've got stuff like sleep, which will really throw off his game. I think I can wait till I start sleeping though. So I'm gonna go with the Sprite Noble now. What I'm thinking is I think I can wait until things start to get a little scarier before I start sleeping. Because the sleep just supremely messes them up. They skip their next attack, and blocking doesn't come into play here because all my stuff's flying, and I don't even know if his deck, maybe some of his late game demons, but besides that, I don't think there's much flying in this deck here. All right, I'm gonna take this 6. He's gonna play, okay. Whatever creature dealt by, this thing dies. This thing, Vampiric Tutor, searches library for a card. Puts it on top of his library, plus he loses 2 life. So we're gonna have the sleeps here. It's gonna be interesting. He's gonna Black Cat. And it dies. Okay, so he's got tons of stuff into play. We do have the sleep, which is good. It's gonna help us not die immediately. All right, so let's just go ahead and attack first. So we're gonna have 2, 4, 5 a turn. We're gonna get next turn. I think we win. We're gonna sleep now, choosing Crumble. So it's gonna tap all of his creatures, and they don't untap during their next untap step. So that means he gets no attack. He still gets an attack phase, but he can't attack with his creatures that are tapped right now. And we're gonna have another sleep to follow this up. What is this? Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. Hopefully he doesn't kill off any of his own creatures. That would actually really screw me. Yeah, we win, unless he kills off one of my creatures here and the numbers don't end up adding up for me. We should have this game. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into attack phase again. Go ahead and swing. This is 5. He's gonna need to kill off one of my creatures or else he's screwed. And we will play Sleep for the second time, tapping all of his creatures. They're already tapped, but then they get reapplied the effect of not untapping again. And does he have, oh jeez. So he gains life, he kills our creature. It's actually really, really bad. Now he's up to 10. We are actually pretty screwed here. Let me try to think what I want to do. So it's got Cypher. When a spell Cypher resolves, you may exile the card encoded on a creature you control, and then you're able to do it again when it does damage. So I can actually stave off some of this damage here, but I still think we're pretty screwed. Gonna play this during his turn. Okay, so I have planned. This might actually work out. All right, so here we go. We're gonna taps a creature, doesn't have tap during its next untap state. So we're gonna go ahead and play this. We're gonna choose to tap his 5/3. Won't untap during its next untap step. The Cypher then gets applied to our creature, and when our creature does damage, I get to do it again. This is actually, I think we might be okay. Oh, this is exciting. Okay. Well, no, it's still gonna be really close, actually. We're gonna go ahead and then hit him for 3. All right? 3 goes through. The Ciphered ability triggers again. I get to choose another creature to tap and make it so that it doesn't untap. You have to pay its cost. I actually did not realize that. I didn't read it. Oh, without. What am I talking about? Okay, so I just, a really big dirt moment there. So triggers again. That's how I thought it worked. I was like, wait, I have to pay it? That's not, I thought the card was good. That wouldn't be that good. Okay, so now what's gonna happen is prior to combat, we're gonna flash him into play, tapping his permanent, his 3/2. Oh, this is awesome. Tapping that, so now he only hits us for 3. Okay, now the question is, what does he have in his hand? We have got 5 damage coming his way. I'm gonna let the 3 go through. I don't want my 2/1 to die. What does he have in his hand? Must be an instant. If it was some, oh, okay, we've got that again. Okay. All right, we're gonna go into combat phase. This is really nerve-wracking. We're gonna be able to tap 2 of his things. He's gonna be able to hit us for 6. I need to know what his instant is. I have to know what his instant is. I obviously can't figure that out, but that's gonna trigger. He's down to 2. We get this. Tap that. Okay, doesn't untap. Then we say go. Prior to him declaring attackers, we play this. We tap one of his 3/2s. He's got 6 damage coming our way. He's got 6 damage coming our way. If he can push through an extra 1 damage, he wins. What is he? He must have something. Why would he just not attack? Gonna swing. I don't want to swing just with, I was gonna swing just with 1, but then I was like, what if he has removal or something? Oh man, unbelievable. That was an awesome game. And our final game for today against Toad. I didn't feel like emphasizing that name too much. I feel like he's, you know, that's a name that belongs to a very rational, laid-back kind of individual. I don't know what is up with this. My 2-drops just not happening here. I got the Hands of the Binding, but where are my other beasts? And this guy, I'd have to wait, you know? I'm actually gonna draw a new hand. No, you know what, we're gonna keep it. It sucks. I've got 5 other 1-drops. This is not, you don't just throw this in play, you know? This is not, you need this to follow up something. So unfortunately, on turn 1, it does you like nothing. He's not gonna sacrifice it, you know? Alright, so he threw down a Grim Lavamancer 1/1. Exile 2 cards from his graveyard to deal 2 damage to creature or player. This is gonna suck. This is the red deck. Direct damage is kind of a problem for this deck that we're playing, and oh my god, I'm screwed. Slith Firewalker, we're gonna get hit for 2 here. That's gonna become a 2/2. Then it's gonna become a 3/3 before we even have anything in play. Then it's a 4. You know, it's just we're done. We're done. We're done. This game's over. It just started. It's over. I know. I don't want to play this yet because I need my creature to throw it on first. So we're just gonna have to just take a bunch of damage. I don't know. We're just gonna have to take a bunch of damage. Now there's a chance, because when our creature's out Shroud, he needs his mass damage to touch him. But the deck's got mass damage, so again, what I'm looking at here for my odds are just thin. They're small, tiny. So I think my game plan, I'm actually not gonna throw him down. Well, maybe I should. The Shroud. Is he really gonna use it? I could do it before the end of his turn. And then I can throw the Pest. Could also do the Pestermite during his turn to tap, but then I worry about him killing the Pestermite. Either way, I don't need to make a decision right now. I got both these guys with flash, so. So it's either gonna be during his turn, the Pestermite or the Scion. Let's see if he taps out pre-combat. He's not going to, smart. Ah, well, it's too late now. That's stupid. All right. Before the end of his turn, throwing this in play. It's his end step, so he can't. You can't target it. Oh, is it other? Only other. What a piece of shit. Oh man, that makes me so angry, you guys. Whatever. Like I said, the burn deck is a problem for the deck that we're playing here, so I can't say I'm terribly surprised that this just isn't going well. Before he declares attackers, we are going to tap his 4/4. He's then probably just going to respond by burning this thing. That's what I expect anyways. There it is. Glorious, glorious day. Well, you can't say I didn't warn you guys. This card's so good. Una, the Fairy Queen. Alright. I guess we'll just have to throw this in play and not have it ciphered on a creature. I mean, we're done. Yeah, that's not gonna help us any. That's not gonna help us any. What a huge, yeah. I said it, I warned you guys. I warned you guys that this deck gets robbed. No, go ahead and draw 3 cards. And that's gonna be 8, 9. And then next turn, we'll see what I draw. If there's no, okay, just 8. Oh, so he can, no. He's doing just 8 so that he can use this to ping if I try to play some blocker or something. So, unless I draw sleep. I'm at 3. That's gonna be able to get pumped up. It's a 5/5 flyer, but that's not enough to save me. It's gonna get pumped up. So I can play the 5/5 flyer to potentially block his 5/5. But again, I'm still pretty sure. The other thing is I can tap his 5/5. But I'm still pretty sure it doesn't even matter, you know? So. Alright, he's gonna throw Grim Lavamancer at my face. Yeah, so even if I do that, he's still got that. Alright, well that's the game. Let's wrap things up by looking at the deck list. Well, it's kind of funny, you know, I said that the biggest weakness for this deck would be burn, and look at that, final game, burn, and just got rocked, not even a chance. Alright, so we got the Fairy Imposters to bounce creatures back. Didn't do us much good in that last game, but typically it's very, very effective. Lots of synergy with it. We also have these nice 1-drops here, these 1/1 flyers. Synergy comes through things like the Spell Stutter Sprite, being able to play this counter spell, bounce it back, and counter again. We also have this guy, he gets +1/+1 when we control other blue creatures, so that he gets pretty much almost most of the times by default he's a 2/2. Familiar's Ruse to counterspell, also have to bounce a creature back to my hand. I get the Hands of Binding, very good, especially when you have a creature to put it on, but that last game, that didn't happen. Scion of Una, sad day. He just got targeted and died. He is an amazing creature. We got 3 of them in the deck too, very, very nice. This one also pumping up our creatures, 0/1, it's a 2/2, plus you can give them +1/+0 until end of turn. We have the Vendilion, it's got flash, it's a 3/1, we get to look at their hand, get rid of something, and they get to draw a card after. Pestermite to tap or untap a permanent with flash. It's great. Sower of Temptation to steal a creature. Didn't get to see this bad boy, but look at this. For 4, it's a 2/2 flying. It's got Persist, and you can sack it to counter a non-creature spell. You sack it, you counter a non-creature spell, Persist brings it back in play. It's a 3/3. 2 of those in the deck. 2 of the sleeps there, tapping creatures they don't untap. Amazing. Concentrate for some card draw. Una Queen Fae. This card is so great. If only you got to see it. Oh man. You get to choose a color, mill your opponent, and then get 1/1 Fairy Rogues with flying in play for each card milled of that color. It's hilarious. Stolen Identity. Take a creature. It's Cypher. It's great. It's a good deck. We lost that last game, but I think overall it's performed pretty well. And yeah, I think it's pretty solid. Thanks guys so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. Tune in next Friday for another episode of Friday Night Magic. Keep watching and keep owning.